What's up, guys? It's the man in black, the bad wolf. All right. So, a lot of people, and thank you guys all for watching my videos and commenting and supporting. But some of the people who were asking in particular about, they didn't really understand what, I guess, the reasoning for the passport and trying to become a state citizen or national um, really means. They didn't really get the idea of it. Okay. So, this is about living in the private versus living in the public. You have to differentiate between the corporate fake world and the real world in which we're flesh and blood beings. Um, the public, or to living in the public. Okay, so to be in the public is an act, to act in public capacity, and it's an accommodation to a party, enjoinder to basically um, it's how your artificial person interacts in the corporate world. Okay, because by law, the two can't mix. Okay, you're basically an authorized agent of you for your straw man, as they call it. Now, this was created by the government for the government, and kind of governed by the state. All men and women who act in legal fiction roles for the state are granted revocable privileges and benefits prescribed in legislative acts. As artificial persons, they are debtors because they are created legally without innate productive capacities. All right. So their rights to contract is limited and they have limited liability. Being legally incompetent, they're basically creatures of the state. So that ends up being its legal children, or we're basically their children, a property, if you will. So they are inside and under the state, from the Latin publicus, which is of the people, or of the state, or done for the state is what that means. Now, the private, living in the private. Okay, so to be in the private is to be in basically what it means, in private capacity, whether it's a man or a woman, with flesh and blood, arms and legs, conscious mind, spirit, and life. All men and women are created as equal sovereigns, endowed with unalienable rights and properties, including credit, equating to their valuable human energy, which is usually converted into money and time. So you have worth. Just sitting there, you have worth. So, as natural men and women, we are creditors because we are born with natural and innate productive capacities. The right to contract for us is unlimited, and we have the unlimited liability. Being responsible adults, we are outside and above the state. Okay, from the Latin privatus, meaning to set apart, belonging to oneself, not to the state. Okay, so basically, there are two separate worlds that we live in. Okay, that a lot of people don't understand, and that's fine because we've had them mixed ever since we were kids. We were brought into this world not knowing, excuse me, anything the wiser. Okay, so the first thing to do is to separate yourself from the legal fiction. Um, if you answer to the artificial or legal person in the real world, a powerful and lawful approach is basically what is going to happen. There's two, like I said, there's two separate yous. There's the corporate version of you, and then there's the real flesh and blood version. So you have to divide those. Now, I know just because you guys will get mail with your name in it with the all cap letters, you're like, oh, that's me. I have to do this, I have to do that. And yeah, you do have some responsibility for it, but it's kind of like if you worked at Nike and you're an authorized, shoe rep for them. You're not really Nike. You might be Mr. Nike, but you're not the owner of Nike. You're not the physical being of Nike, even though it's a play on words. And just because it's your name, they're just trying to say that you are the authorized representative of that. You are never obliged to answer questions or to provide, government issued ID, truly to uphold your government of the people. It's not your duty to answer these questions. It is your duty to ask questions. You have the right to know who is making the claim against you, the right to know who the injured party is, the right to conditionally accept any claim against you upon verification, and the right to reserve your rights without prejudice, and thereafter the right to remain silent, basically to not incriminate yourself or put yourself in further jeopardy. Okay, so by failing to exercise your rights, the people who have been betrayed and have allowed their selves to be governed, basically it turns them against you. Okay, so to that, the people basically have been, monetized is what that really is. They turned your name into a business. The original offices of de jure unincorporated government institutions have been usurped, okay, and are mostly unoccupied by de jure public servants working for the people in a de jure public capacity. All right, the public state has been captured by financial piracy, okay, and has become a commercial enterprise or business, basically, operating by contract under Admiralty Maritime Jurisdictional or merchant law in the international law of the sea. Okay, that's really what is going on here. All right. So if you don't know these things, I suggest just kind of like looking up, what your straw man is, and basically learning what's really going on, so you can separate your things and not take some of these things that they're doing to you into your person, and basically allowing these things to take over your life. All right, so in one box, in the public is basically the government, which is created by the state. Okay, it's a public servant acting in a public capacity, a member of the public, and involves legal fictions. On your private side, which is you or us, living flesh and blood people, this is a man or a woman created by nature or God, however you see. You're private and sovereign. You're living in a private capacity, which is why they created the Constitution, we the people, and we act under lawful facts, not hearsay, none of that kind of stuff. So these are all the things that, you guys need to understand and kind of live it. You have to live these things. And it's hard because you have to separate so many things that are intertwined, but that's how they wanted it. They wanted you guys to always be, sheep and, followers, and because it's easier for them. They can control you. Excuse me. They can manipulate you and basically do what you're told to do. So you do have better options and rights. You have to learn these things. So hopefully that gives you guys who weren't really sure why you should want to reclaim your natural given rights as a state citizen or a national. That's because it separates you from their world, and then you have to kind of live that way, or at least kind of separate yourself, or at least know of the difference, know when to use which aspects and parts. But in all, if you watch all these videos on this kind of stuff, or you look it up for yourself, you will live a better life, not having to just accept what all these things that how they're robbing you and how they're getting away with things and locking people up who aren't supposed to be locked up in some situations. Now there are some people that definitely need to be locked up out there, but once you learn these things, it's a way of life, and you will definitely live better. So hopefully that kind of gives you guys some understanding between living in the private and the difference between living in the private and acting or living in the fictional corporate world. Okay, so that's about it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and learned a little something. If not, do your own research and grow wiser and stronger every day. So thanks for hitting the bell and like and subscribe. Thank you. Talk to you guys later. Bad Wolf, off to make some more videos.